Hi guys, yeah, today I want to show you my new warrior deck for the heroic Sapphiron. Since soon Next Rumors is not available anymore, maybe now then all the new players try to catch the opportunity and buy it, and then have the problems. Yeah, how can I defeat the heroic Sapphiron? Yeah, I used back then when Next Rumors was released, I used the warrior deck, which was quite successful, and now I made some changes, and it's even more successful. I've played several times now. I just lost once because I was a little unlucky. So the basic strategy is you try to win by fatigue. To try to deal with everything he puts on the board. Therefore you have weapons, spells, and so on. Yeah. So the problem is when you try to deal with the board, it happens that you take damage, and at a certain point you can use those spells which with 8 damage plus freeze plus some frost balls, and yeah, these are the ones which bring you pretty low on health, and these are the critical situations in this matchup. Otherwise it's not so difficult. Yeah, so this is the only thing you need to consider to be careful. Yeah. Okay, the best thing is just, I think, I go through the deck and then we will play a few times. So I have one execute inside here. In my old deck I had 2 of them and they were quite necessary. I had Whirlwind and I had Elven Archer, so a lot of stuff to prepare the enemy minion for execute. But my new attempt somehow doesn't need it so often. I just have one, and oftentimes I don't need it at the end. Still I like to have one, but in this deck it's one thing you could change if you want. I have to say this deck is not completely at the end of the testing period. There might be some cards inside which are suboptimal and can be substituted. Okay, then I have 2 shield slams which are really nice. I have 2 fiery war eggs to cleave. This is really good for early game cleave and heroic fairy war eggs. This one you should aim for when you mulligan. Heroic strike also good for early removal, or you can remove something big with one of the other weapons. Then I have 2 revenge inside here. And the reason is quite simple. It's because it's actually pretty good board clear, especially after you go down between 12 health, and this can happen, and it's not so unlikely actually with his quite powerful spells he has, that you end up being with less than 12 health, and then this one is really good for board clear. But this is also the moment when you come down to 12 health, you have more options to control the board, and then it's not so unlikely that you still win. From all my attempts I had, I won, yeah, all but one, and I guess I was more or less always under 12 health, so it's nothing uncommon. Yeah, then I have 2 explosive sheeps. Yeah, it's also good AoE, deals 2 damage to all minions. The Rubian egg is quite good. He pops it, so next turn you have a 4/4 which you can use for trading. Yeah, Bash is one of the new cards from TGT. I really like. It's also removal with 3 damage and you gain 3 armor. Also good synergy with Shield Slam. Then I have a shield block here, also because of the synergy with Shield Slam plus the card draw, and you need armor. This usually you want to save until the point where you're lower than 12 health. Yeah, first to survive longer, and yeah, under 12 health you have the certain bonuses on certain spells. Then 2 death bites, 2 mortal strikes, also with the benefit if your health is lower than 12. I have 2 Cochrane Elite, Justica Trueheart. I included her because, yeah, my idea was that it helps to control me the board, and before I had anti-killbot inside. But you really benefit from being under 12 health. If you then be able to build up armor, it's more useful because Revenge is still pretty strong. Mortal Strike is pretty strong. So I could, yeah, and most of the time you use your hit power a lot of times, and in the end you might gain more health or armor with it than anti-killbot. Only thing is that, yeah, you might end up getting her pretty late, and it takes a while until it pays off. With anti-killbot you get immediately 8 health, and in some critical situation that might be better. So here this is also one card which could be substituted. So actually in this deck no card is really that necessary, that strong that you really need to include it. I have tried several decks also without Justica Trueheart, with 2 anti-killbots. I had without Fiery War Axe because accidentally I missed to include them, and I was winning with those. So these are more or less suggestions which are really good. Your deck should be include a lot of this stuff, but there's still room to make adjustments, especially if you don't have any cards. Sylvanas Windrunner is a really strong card, because if you place a minion, you can steal this minion. So you're not only destroying this minion, you also have this minion for the next turn to trade. So it's a really strong card. And Gorehole, I like. Yeah, I like it because there are some guys inside with 6 heals. These are the ones which are a little bit hard to deal with, and Gorehole can, yeah, do it once or twice at least. Yeah, it looks a little bit different than my old approach. My old approach, I had more guys with charge, because I was also missing the GVG cards, CGT cards. I had Inner Rage, especially with Cochrane Elite, to deal with the 6 health minions. And I had Arcanid Reaper as well. So a lot of weapons. The problem is if you use your weapons, you always take damage to your face, and in the end, yeah, it's somewhere really close to death. Some games I was close to death, and still with 5 attack you don't kill those 6 health minions completely. Therefore I had Whirlwind or Archer. Yeah, I have a little bit more problems now to deal with 6 health minions, because I don't have so many stuff which really deals 6 damage. Only Gorehole. So usually I need a combination, maybe Cochrane Elite plus Fiery War Axe, or I have a Fiery War Axe equipped and I use where is it? Heroic Strike. But in the end, if you just run Inner Rage to combine it with Cochrane Elite, you use 2 cards as well, so you end up in the same situation. Only difference is you might need to use your weapon here, and then you take damage to your face, which might be in some situation are quite dangerous. and you could also use Inner Rage to combine it with Execute. So these are also options which are possible. Yeah, this might be some changes you can make if you prefer this more. I don't know. So for example, just kind of true, I just said. The problem is it pays off quite late. When you play her, then you just gain 2 more every time you use it. It might be then too late. And if you can survive it, you would maybe survive it anyway. So here maybe in a rage to combine it with Cochrane Elite or Execute might be even better, because you just can deal with the threat immediately. Yeah, but this is something it's up to you if you want to change it or not. Yeah, enough of the deck explanation. So we start playing. So what's important to know is what Sapphiron has in his deck. Okay, so this is everything not useful. You should mulligan really for Fire War Axe, Cleave. Oh, I didn't mention Bouncing Blades. Also one card I find super useful, because it can. So the big threats are 3 Necro Knights and 2 Spectral Knights. The huge problem is that to kill those, and Bouncing Blades can this really easy if it's the only one on the board, and it can deal with the Spectral Knight immediately. Yeah, otherwise you cannot use the spells here. So back to the game. I think I play Explosive Sheep here. It deals with Fairy Dragon. And okay, usually what he likes to play in the beginning is Shade of Nexramas, and there it's sometimes really useful if you have Cleave on hand, that you maybe leave, for example, a mana one turn on the board, even though you could trade it. Just you can play it Cleave next turn and kill the Shade of Nexramas. Okay, so we kill here. The Dancing Blades, and if you have the decision between equipping a weapon this turn or Hero Power, most of the time Hero Power, because you really need the armor. And so this way you also stay more flexible. So I will wait here. Maybe I play already just to card True Heart next turn, depending what he's playing. Okay, so now we have the problem that he has the Spectral Knight, and unfortunately he has 2 other minions on the board. Therefore I played Despite this turn, and we will just Hero Power. This one is going to die next turn when I use it again. And yeah, let's see what he's playing. Okay, I shouldn't wait any longer here, and the good thing already is that he's really low on cards. But he will draw 2 more cards next turn. Are there too many? And Bouncing Blades is really good to deal with them. And if you please place the freezing spell, I'm so low on health, it's really necessary to do something. Okay, this is a good situation to use Execute here, because it allows me to play just a card True Heart. And from here on we can Hero Power to be safe, and so I'm not afraid what he's playing next turn, because I have always the chance with Windrunner to get one. We have to play Dash here, because otherwise we could have become serious problems. Yeah, and I played in Rubinek, just in case. It's maybe not worth to trade with Loot Hoarder, it could be better. It's okay. So that's the second Spectral Knight. And yeah, I will take this with Sylvanas, because these are the dangerous ones. Now with Mortal Strike on your hand, we can deal with every Necro Knight. Next Ramas. Cleave would be really nice now. Oh. So now that we can tank up, from here on we should be, yeah, really safe actually. We can deal 8 damage more with another spell. And he maybe has a Frostball, but that's it then. And we deal always, or we can get 4 damage, armor every turn. So I could have used the Mortal Strike, but then the Nerubian would be without value. Yeah, when you're beneath 12 health, then there's no problem with playing shield block. But before you should wait. Join me in death. Yeah, I waited here another turn. Because I had to. Yeah, of course it had stealth. But sometimes it's useful anyway to get more value out of your cards. Like now with the Mortal Strike we killed 2, and okay, we took 3 damage once, but we get 4 armor every turn. Yeah. so there's no problem. Yeah, it looks really good already. We're almost at 30 health. And also here, I can wait a little bit, make more use of the explosive sheep. In total we gain 1 armor every turn. So I could have saved or avoided a lot of damage to my face, but it's okay. He has 3 left. Could have played this so much earlier, but the only difference is we would have won with more armor, but we will win anyway. And it's actually good because now we can play clean and bouncing blades. Second pure cold. So the only loss I had was when he played 2 pure colds in 2 turns. That was just was simply too much for me. +1 frostbolt. Maybe I could have prevented it. I don't know. So also what is good right now is this revenge. We can kill also the Shadow of Necramas. And
I'm almost out of cards.
so yeah, we just need to wait.
I'm out of cards.
But he started to fatigue earlier than we. We can tank up every turn, and we still have a lot of stuff in our hand to deal damage with. It's next turns. I'm not sure. I think we need 1 more. Nah, he won't take 5 this turn. Oh, but it's really close. So next turn it's over. And we won with 44 lives in total. And we couldn't have prevented even more if I would have played the explosive sheep earlier or so. But even though we end up with so much health in the end, there's really once this time where you get really low on health. But this is when you play it, it's like that. Only if you have a really good curve and can deal with everything immediately, then you might not end up so low with health. But he has still the strong spells, so it's not. It's completely normal to get so low with your health. Can't do anything here. I hope he Oh no. Oh, Fire Warrocks, that's good. Otherwise, I would have liked to see Cleave. Which, also if he plays Shade of Necrodamus, this turn would be awesome. It's not the case. Bouncing Blade would be a possibility. But what we do now, I think we use Shield Slam here. Because most of the time we don't use it so often. Especially now with Sylvanas, we have a great removal. So next turn is ours. We get the Spectral Knight can trade. It's perfect.
Join me in death. Mind if I roll need?
For Kel'Thuzor!
Yeah, why not using the weapon? If your life is not in danger, then I would say it's always better to use the weapon. You have enough weapons anyway, and it's good to keep stuff on the hand, which helps you. Yeah, which helps you to deal with the actual bot situation here. Sorry, but I just had to think what is the best way. I could have used also the explosive sheep, but the good thing is with the Necro Knight you can use Bash, and you cannot do it with the Spectral Knight. I don't know. I said here 2 Spectral Knights, but I guess it's actually 3. So. Oh, that's really good. And also now we can play her, and it's exactly enough for a shield slam. Maybe this time we won't end up below 12 health. But who knows, if he plays Pure Cold next turn again, yeah, we won't have a chance. But we are not in danger. We have shield block, we have tank up. Yeah, I just mentioned that it's better to use the weapons and keep your stuff on the hand, and yeah, to have more options to deal with the board, but also for these cases when your hero is freezed. This can end up really badly. And now, since we are below 12 health, I will use shield block. And from here on, yeah, we are safe already. We gain 4 armor every turn. We have still some removals. use both. I was wondering if I should kill the dancing blades or not. If I wouldn't have, I could have played Cleave now. Oh, we played this way.
Mind if I roll need?
Yeah, this turn I will wait to use Cleave. We have still 2 in our hand, and it would be a pity if we wouldn't use it. And if we're lucky, the first one hits the Azure Drake, and then we can clear the board.
For the Lich King!
Spectral Knight, okay. So first again we deal with the Fairy Dragon, and then we play Bouncing Blades. Yeah, with 2 Mortal Strikes, 1 Revenge, and we are so low in health that we get the extra bonus. It's pretty good. So apparently he draws another spell. If I remember correctly, he has 2 blizzards, but somehow he's not using them. The only situation you can use it if when you steal something with Sylvanas, or if you get something of the Nerubian egg. So we go face here. I don't care about the 1 damage I get, and we deal with it. Revenge and Explosive Sheep kills everything. And we can start going face.
I'm almost out of cards. For the War Chief! For Hellscream!
Yeah, this time we even end up with 50 health. Yeah, it was pretty easy. Okay, so yeah, at the end maybe a little conclusion of the deck. It's a control deck. It's about dealing with the minion. No going face in the beginning, just waiting until fatigue, and then in the end you can go face if it's clear that you will survive. So in the beginning it's just about surviving and clearing the board. It's everything you want to do. Sometimes it makes sense not to clear everything and yeah, wait a turn, so you can use cleave, or you get more value of explosive sheep. Yeah, or even if he plays the Necronite and just the Necronite, you wait another turn until he plays something besides the Necronite, you can, which you then you can kill together with the Necronite. Yeah, so dealing with the board and also using weapons and so on means also you take some damage in the beginning. And yeah, with the spells you're getting really low in health. And if you place the spells in one turn after the other turn, so in a row, this can be really dangerous. But usually you have so many opportunities to deal with the board that you should be able to control it. Yeah, and yeah, the idea was that if you go down anyway, then I include the cards which are really useful then, which was the Revenge, which is really good AoE, and the Mortal Strike, which can deal with Necromant immediately. Yeah, and afterwards, if you're really low, you should try to armor up as soon as possible. Therefore, Justica True Heart is inside this deck, or Shield Block, which is also good to combine with Shield Slam. Yeah, and it's really important to be aware of what he can play, what he's going to play, and yeah, what are the threats and which you need to deal with. Keep in mind that the Spectral Knight, which is usually the hardest one to remove, since you cannot use spells, or you can use spells, but only the Bouncing Blades if it's the only minion on the board. But you cannot kill it with Mortal Strike. So try to keep always answers in your hand, and therefore try to use your weapons as much as possible as to clear the board. As long as you are not getting too low with your health, always consider that he has the strong spells in hand, and yeah, beware if he is in lethal range or not. Okay, yeah, and as I said, I don't think that any of this card is. Some are really good, but the deck itself is really good. So if you make some adjustments or you don't have all the cards, you should be also successful if you change some of those cards. Yeah, I hope you find it really useful. This deck will help you to defeat the heroic Sapphiron. And yeah, if you're interested in more adventure decks, you can find some of my channels. I think in the next times I will also reconsider or yeah, playing Extremis again, and trying for new decks with new cards. Yeah, until then, good luck playing Extremis.